items which are internal hardware components. So that means we could have internal hardware components and external hardware components. So the internal hardware components are the components that are found inside the motherboard. So let's start. Now, actuator cannot be found inside the system unit. So keyboard cannot. Linker is a software. Monitor is an hardware but external. Mouse is external hardware. Printer external hardware. So but processor is found inside the system unit, so it's an internal hardware component. Sound card is found inside the system unit, so it's an internal hardware. So this is how to answer questions like this. And don't forget, this question is for 2 marks. So having circled the 2 items, you earn your full 2 marks. Then question 2, one component of the internal memory of a computer is random access memory, RAM. State 2 characteristics of RAM. Now you have been told that it's an internal memory, so it's an essential memory for the computer to operate. So the characteristics of RAM are, so you can write this way. Let me use color red so that you can see clearly. So then you type, the RAM can be read from and written to. RAM can be read from and written to, meaning that you can alter the content, you can see the content, you can, that is the meaning of it can be read from and it can be written to. Another thing about RAM is that RAM is a volatile memory. You know that RAM is a volatile memory. That means it stores temporarily. RAM is a volatile memory. Other points you can add if you do not use this is you can say the way I said that RAM is temporary storage. RAM is temporary storage. Actually, the question asks you for 2 and it has been numbered, so you write 2. You write 2 temporary storage. So you write any 2 correct points. It has been numbered, so that will earn you 2 marks here. Please take note of that. RAM is a temporary storage. Then question 3 says that tick which device produces solid objects. Which device produces solid objects? So if you look at it, we have different kinds of printers here. So inkjet prints on paper, Domatrix print on paper, laser printer prints on paper. So 3D printer is a type of printer that is used to print concrete or solid objects. So 3D printer is the correct answer here. Please take note of that. Then question 4, for each of the following uses of data capture, so name one appropriate direct data entry device. Appropriate direct data entry devices. Direct data entry devices are used to enter data automatically into the computer, not manual data entry. So they are input devices that are used to enter data into the computer directly or automatically without human intervention. So the devices must be different in each case, so take note of that. You have been told. So now for contactless credit card, what you are mentioning is the data entry device. So for contactless credit card, you can use RFID reader. So you can say that RFID reader can be used here. RFID, that is radio frequency reader. So if you want to write it in full, radio frequency identification. Okay, that is RFID. Take note of that. RFID reader. Then for multiple choice answers in an examination, you use OMR. That is optical mark reader. OMR, optical mark reader. Optical mark reader or recognition reader, OMR. So take note of that. You can also, for the other question, to scan items at a computerized till. Computerized till is like a store or mall. So you can use barcode reader or barcode scanner. Barcode reader or barcode scanner, that can be used here. So question 4 is settled. Then the next question is question 5. So take note of that. A glass house is used to grow plants and is computer controlled. So take note, it's computer controlled. Grow plants and it is computer controlled. Name 3 sensors which could be used in this glass house. 3 sensors. No. So first thing to note that sensors are input devices. Sensors are input devices. So in a glass house and you are growing plants, so for plants to grow biologically, you need temperature, you need light, you need water or moisture. So those are the points that will give you the kind of sensors that will be used to input data in that scenario. So you write. So since you use temperature is needed for plants to grow, so you can say temperature sensor. For question 2, say light sensor. Question 3, you say humidity or moisture sensor. And also as an extra point, any 3 points here is correct. You can use pH sensor, that is to talk about how acidic or basic the solution is. pH sensor. So this pH value of the soil can be considered too. So pH sensor is needed for that. So the next question is question 5b, and the question says give 2 reasons why data from the sensors need to be converted for use by the computer. And if you remember, when I was trying to tell you what sensors are, I told you sensors are input devices, but sensors measure analog data and the computer is digital in its operation. So a device is needed for the computer to understand the input the sensors will give to it. So since computer is digital and sensors measure physical or analog data, so an ADC is needed. An ADC is needed so that the signal or the data measured and captured by the sensors can be understood by the computer. So you can write it this way. This is a 2-mark question, so you should structure your response, and it has been done bad. So you can say you are writing why the data needs to be converted. So one reason is that so that the data from the sensor can be understood by the computer. Can be understood by the computer, because computer understands digital data, whereas the sensor outputs, the input the sensor sends to the computer is analog. So you need to state that clearly. So the output from a sensor is analog. Whereas the input to the computer is digital. Because computer understand digital data. So that is done. Then the next question, which is question 6, the question says a smartphone has many uses. A smartphone. So this question is about a smartphone. So you see the keyword there, has many uses. For example, making and receiving telephone calls. So give 4, that is state 4 other uses of a smartphone. Now before we call a phone smart, that means it has the capacity to do some normal computer operations. So that's the meaning. So what are the other uses of a smartphone? A smartphone can be used for video calling, because here they said making and receiving telephone calls. So it can be used for online banking. It can be used for email, to access your email, your inbox, and send emails, playing and streaming video. So there are so many functions that you can say. You can use it for text messaging or SMS. So it can be used for text messaging, or what we call SMS. So smartphone can be used for that. It can also be used for playing and streaming video. Or even music. It can be used for that. There are so many options. It can be used for taking photos. It can be used for searching the internet. So many. Searching the internet. So many. It can be used for playing games. It can be used for taking photos. It can be used for online banking. So many. Social networking. So many. You can pick any correct answer there. Searching the internet. It can be used for taking pictures, or what you call photos. So many. Can be used for online banking. So there are many functions. Online banking, and so on and so forth. So any four correct points here will earn you the full mark of 4. So take note of that in this kind of question. So then the next question, question 7. A developer is writing a program to record the results of examinations taken by students in a school. So you can see that it's writing a program to record the result of examination taken by students in a school. So the program will be tested, keyword, will be tested to make sure that it works. There are 3 types of test data that can be used to test a system. And according to the syllabus, you have been taught different kind of test data. We have normal, abnormal. Normal test data is talking about data within the limits of acceptability. Abnormal, that is data outside the boundaries or limits of acceptability. And then we have extreme. So those are the data on the limits. Explain what is meant by normal, abnormal, and extreme test data. So this is straightforward. This is straightforward question, and it is easy to answer. So let's go to it one after the other. Now for test data that is normal, you say data that is within the range of acceptability. Data that is within the range of acceptability. That is what we call normal data. You can also say data that is of appropriate data type and is within the range of acceptability. So that is correct. And also for abnormal, you can say data outside the range of acceptability. Data outside the range of acceptability. Then for the extreme, you see data that is on the boundary or limit of acceptability. Data that is on the boundary of acceptability. That's what we call extreme data. So that is also simple for 3 marks. Then the next question says the program collects a large amount of data, and this could be stored using either a fixed solid state drive or cloud storage. So the keyword here, you can see fixed solid state drive. That is fixed SSD, so which is otherwise known as internal SSD. That is already internal to the computer. So then, or cloud storage. So the developer is planning to use cloud storage. So is planning to use cloud storage. Then the question says describe 4 advantages. 4 advantages, and the command word here is describe to the school. So the advantage to the school, not probably to the students. using cloud storage rather than using the SSD. Advantages of using cloud storage rather than SSD. So having known the keywords from the question, then you begin to write, arrange your point and write correctly. So the first point, you could say that the cloud has greater storage capacity. So that's an advantage to the school. The cloud has greater storage capacity. That's an advantage to the school because there are many students, many staff that want to store, Then the next one is that the data could be sent directly to and from the cloud from any computer. So that's another opportunity. They don't need to carry any physical storage media. So you say that the data could be sent directly, to or from any of the computer or the device they are using in that school. Then the next one is that many people can share the data. That's an advantage because it is stored in the cloud. Many people can share the data. So many people, students, staff, many people can share the data. That's an advantage too to the school. Another thing is that the school will only pay for the storage use because they don't need to buy a physical storage media that is maybe 500 terabytes. So they are paying. If they do not use up to that, they would have paid for it before having it. But if it is storage, cloud storage, they are just paying as their storage is increasing. That's how they are increasing their subscription. So then that is another point. You can say the school would only pay for the storage use. The school will only pay for the storage used. Another point you can probably add here is that there is an automatic backup of data, and that's a good advantage for using cloud storage. There is an automatic backup of data using cloud storage. So any 4 points here will earn you the full mark of 4 as we have it in the question. So this is how to do it and get a star in paper 1. Then the next question is question 7b2. Describe is the keyword. Describe. What are you describing? 3 disadvantages to the school of using cloud storage rather than using the SSD. So we have talked about advantages to the school of using cloud storage. Now we are looking at disadvantages. Please take note of that. We are looking at disadvantages. So you need to see that. Let me paint it in color red. You are looking at disadvantages. So let's go. Disadvantage to the school is that more security issues because they are going to have more copies of the data that will be stored, because as this person is working on it, is storing the update, another person the update, and it continues that way. So they will have more security issues. Okay, more security issues. That is an issue as multiple copies of the data are stored. So that is very important. Another issue that could arise is that the school loses control over the storage of the data because so many people are storing directly to the cloud, so they may not be able to organize who stores at what time and what data. So that's another issue. Another issue that could arise is that cloud storage has an ongoing cost. That's one thing about it. Cloud storage has an ongoing cost as compared to SSD. Then another issue is that users must have a reliable internet connection to store data, and even if they want to access it, they must have that. Users must have a reliable internet to store or to even access the data. So that's an issue there. So that means if there's no internet, they may not be able to store or work on the data. So take note of that. Then the next question, which is 7c, is that the developer spends a great deal of time using a computer. Spends a great deal of time using the computer. So prolonged use of computer. That is what is being said here. For each of the statements given, identify which one is a health problem and describe a possible solution. Your answers must be different in each case. So using a mouse for a long period of time, is it a health problem? Okay, if it is, what health problem it is, then the possible solution. So now you write, for using a mouse for a long period of time, the health problem that can arise from there is repetitive strain injury. Repetitive strain injury, or what we call the RSI. So take note of that. Then what is the possible solution that we can have for that? There are a lot. Number one, taking of regular breaks is very important. Taking regular breaks is very important. Use of ergonomic keyboard, use of ergonomic keyboard or mouse can help. Ergonomic keyboard or mouse can help. Then another thing that can help is you can use voice activated software. That is, instead of typing, you'll be given verbal command. Voice activated software. Okay, that any of these can help for RSI. Then for sitting for too long in one position, that could cause back problems or neck, back problems or neck problems, back problems. So the possible solution will be using of a footrest, so that you can sit comfortably. Use of a footrest. Okay, you can also take care of that by taking regular breaks. Take regular breaks. You can also minimize that by using ergonomic or adjustable chair. Use adjustable chair and so on. So there are other points you can use there. Then the next question is question number 8. A company has an extranet. You can see that a company has an extranet. So the keyword here is an extranet. Explain what is meant. So the command word is to explain what is meant by an extranet. Explain what is meant by an extranet. So you write that because you are giving explanation, talking about the key words and the operation of an extranet. So you say an extranet is a network controlled by a private company, okay, and which is restricted or private. So you can see which is a restricted or private network. A restricted or private network. So like I said, another thing that you can say about it is that it allows access for partners. So the partners of a company could have access to a portion of vendors or even suppliers. So, and the access is for authorized customers. Access. So that means before you can access the extranet of a company, you must be authorized. Maybe there will be some authentication techniques that will be used to confirm that you are an authorized customer or partner of that company. So any 3 points here will fetch you the 3 marks here. So it's very simple. Then the next question is question 9. A taxi company tracks the routes their cars have traveled and the current location of each one using a global positioning system. Don't forget current location and the track, the route. So a map showing the routes taken and current location of each car is displayed on the office monitor. So on the office monitor, describe is the command word in detail how this system could work. So this is talking about GPS, global positioning system. So now you can say that by saying the position of each of the cars is calculated using GPS software. So if those cars don't have GPS software installed, there will be an issue. It won't be possible. So you can say the position, or position is talking about location of the car, is being calculated by the GPS software. That's a point. Another valid point is that data is transmitted to the office computer every now and then. Every now and then it's being transmitted, so they can follow or monitor or track the location of the car. Then data is transmitted every few seconds to the computer, every few seconds. That's why they can know or track the current location of the car. Then another one is that an algorithm will be generated which will calculate the speed and probably the location of the cars. Then the data is stored. The data is stored in the computer. Then the map is updated. The map is updated every few seconds, so they know the current location of the car. So that is very important, so take note of that. So this is like the pattern that it follows anytime GPS is used in the movement or tracking a vehicle. So take note of that for 4 marks. Then question 10, a head teacher is planning to hold a video conference. Is planning to hold a video conference with head teachers from other schools. Then the head teachers already have basic internet, connected desktop computer systems, including a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse. Identify 3 pieces of additional hardware that they need in order to participate in a video conference. So if a video conference is to be established, what are the hardware devices that will be needed apart from the ones already mentioned? That's what the question is asking us here. So one hardware that will be needed is probably video camera or webcam. A microphone. Yeah, video camera or webcam. A microphone will be needed because video camera is for both for the head teacher in a particular school and other head teachers to see themselves. So microphone is also needed for them to communicate, to hear their sound or their voices. So microphone is needed for that purpose. And another thing that will be probably needed is the speaker, because if microphone is used to input the sound, for them to hear from both ends, they will need the speaker to hear. Microphone is for them to input their sound as they communicate over the video conference. So speakers or headphone will be needed to hear what the other person is saying. Headphone. So take note of that. So this is for 3 marks, and then those are the hardware devices that will be required. Then question 10b says that a technician is setting up the hardware for the video conference. So state 3 tasks. State is the command word there. 3 tasks the technician will need to do to set up the hardware for the video conference. What are the tasks that the technician would follow for that video conference connection? Okay, you can assume that the hardware required has already been purchased, so you don't need to talk about you will need to buy the hardware, you need to get the hardware. No, all the hardware needed are already purchased, they are available. So but what are the tasks is going to undergo to ensure a smooth video conferencing session? So you will need to ensure that the video camera are switched on. So the technician will need to ensure that all the hardware components that we have mentioned, the speaker, microphone, camera or webcam, are switched on. So okay, another thing you will probably need is that you will ensure that the hardware devices are properly connected. You will ensure that the hardware devices are properly connected. Okay, another thing you will need is that you will carry out tests on all the hardware devices. Carry out tests on the hardware devices. You will need to test the microphone, whether it's properly connected and it's working, the camera or the webcam, the speaker. You need to test them. You also need to check the volume levels. You will need to check the volume levels. You will need to check the internet connection, internet connectivity, whether it is stable, or to ensure a smooth video conferencing session. So any 3 points here will earn you the full mark of 3, as has been said in the question. So take note of that. Then the next question is question 11. Microprocessor control devices in the home have had positive effects on people's lifestyles. One of the positive effects of using these devices is that we can now set a cooker to switch on while we are out, so that we arrive home to a cooked meal. Don't forget, the emphasis on microprocessor control devices in the home. So describe the positive effect of using other microprocessor control devices in the home. Describe is the command word. Positive effect of using other microprocessor control devices in the home, apart from the cooker that has been mentioned. So what are the other positive effects? So you can say microprocessor control devices reduce the need for people to do manual tasks at home. So people no longer have to do manual tasks at home. That is a positive effect. People can use microprocessor control devices for physical fitness tracking in the home. They have more time. People now have more time to spend on leisure activity. People now have more time to spend on leisure activity. Activities such as shopping, etc. So then another thing is that increased sense of security. People now have increased sense of security because they now have automatic burglar system in the house. So that has increased their sense of security, as homes are protected with burglar alarms. So this has increased the sense of people's security. Then another thing is that reduces injuries by using microprocessor control lights outside. People now use smart fridges to improve healthy lifestyle. Smart fridges are used to improve healthy lifestyle, because the smart fridges can automatically order food, and it can also analyze the nutrients in the food put in the fridges. So people can now know that what they are eating is of good quality for their body and all that. So question 12, Tawara Retail is an online store. This online store does not have physical shops. Customers buy products from this store using internet shopping. So that's the keyword there, online store. Describe is a command word. The advantages to Tawara Retail of offering internet shopping. This is asking for advantages to Tawara Retail, not advantages to the customers. So please look out for the right words in the question. Describe the advantages to the Tawara Retail of offering internet shopping. We can as well have advantages to the customers. So you need to look out for the keywords. So one advantage to Tawara Retail is that they can target prices, the products and services at specific groups based on buying data. So they know who to target, the prices to give, and products and services to render. So they can have that as an advantage. Tawara Retail can update stock availability more quickly. They can do that automatically. So then you write and say Tawara Retail can target prices, or even their product or services at specific groups. So it is easier based on the data they have gathered over time. Another thing is that Tawara Retail can update stock more quickly than a physical store through their website. Another thing or another advantage is that cheaper for Tawara Retail as a store to publicize special discounts or special offers rather than mail shots. Another thing is that they have wider international customer base. That's another advantage. International customer base or global market. That's what we mean by global market. Because the internet, the online, by the use of internet, the online store can be accessed by different potential customers from around the world. So then another thing is that it can increase the profits because they don't need to pay for physical store renting, fewer staff would be needed and all that. Increased profit due to lower overhead cost. You understand? So they are not paying for many physical outlets, shop outlets, so that won't be there. So it's an advantage to the retail. So then the next one is question 13, and it says a media student is creating a movie in school for a project. He needs to take the movie home to edit it. The student intends to use a fast solid state memory card to transport the movies. You see that? Then the student is unable to save the work on the memory card. Give 2 error messages that may appear when attempting to save the work. So give 2 error messages that may appear, possible error messages that you may see attempting to save the work. So that is very simple questions. So you could see error messages such as the medium is full, the memory card is corrupt, write error, card not initialized, virus found on the card, device not recognized. There are so many possible error messages that it can have. So just give any valid 2 points there. You can have something like the medium is full, is full. You could have a card error. You could have a virus found. You could even have device not recognized, so and so on and so forth. So any two here is will earn you the full mark. So then the next one is question 14. Compare the similarities and differences. Similarities and differences between Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is wireless fidelity. So you should compare, and they have told you specifically to mention the similarities and differences, and this is a 4-mark question, so you could make it 2 similarities and 2 differences. So let me start with the similarities. You can say both use wireless communication. You can also say that both allow several devices to be connected. Together. You can also say that both use radio frequencies for communication. So you can say that. You can also say that both use security when sending data. You can say that. Then for differences, you can say Wi-Fi has a faster data transfer rate. Than the Bluetooth. You can also say that Wi-Fi has a greater range of transmission. You can also say that Wi-Fi can be broadcast. You can also say that Wi-Fi connects more devices than Bluetooth. You can also say that Bluetooth has a lower frequency than Wi-Fi. So there are many points you can pick from, so to earn the full mark. Then the next question is question 15. The key word here is discuss. You can see that discuss the advantages and disadvantages now, in this case, to customers of using internet banking rather than visiting a bank. Discuss, that's a command word. The advantages and disadvantages to customers, not to the banks now, but to customers using internet banking rather than visiting a bank physically. So you can start with the advantages. You can say it reduces the number of journeys to and from the bank for the customer. Reduces the to and from journeys to the bank by the customers. So that means they can stay at home and carry out their bank operations. It saves money as fewer journeys are made traveling to the bank. So it saves traveling costs. To the bank by the customer. Another thing that you can say is that it reduces the time wasted traveling. Or even waiting at the bank, so they can use their time for something more productive. They have opportunity for 24/7 banking. Opportunity for 24/7 banking. That's another advantage. Then no physical robberies is possible of customers. That's also an advantage. No physical robberies of customers as they stay in their house. in their own to carry out their operation, to carry out their banking operations. So physical robberies, take note of that, not just robbery, so because they can be scammed online, so but no physical robbery. So for disadvantages, you can write that there's more risk of farming or phishing or fraud, more risk of farming, phishing, or even fraud. That's disadvantages. Another disadvantage they may have is that physical or cash cannot be deposited or withdrawn using online. So if they have to do physical withdrawal or deposit, physical money or cash cannot be withdrawn or deposited using online banking. So that's a challenge for them. Another disadvantage is that it is the user needs a reliable internet connection, so because they depend on internet, so the customers need a reliable internet connection. So that's an issue there, internet connection. Then another disadvantage is that it is easier to make errors while using internet banking. It is easier to make errors while using internet banking, and so on and so forth. So there are other points to write. So but the question is asking for 6 valid points. So any 6 here, talking about the advantages and disadvantages, will earn you the full mark here. So and then you have done well there. Then the next question is some confidential personal data, you can see that, can be classed as sensitive data. Name 3 items of personal data that could also be sensitive. You can look at some data, they are personal data, but they are more sensitive, because having access to those data is like you have had access to everything about the victim. So what are those? Name them, the 3 items of personal data that could be sensitive. So racial origin, political views or opinions, those are points that you can mention. Political views or opinion. Medical record, we have access to medical record of a person. Criminal record of a person. Sexual orientation of a person. If you also religious belief or philosophical belief. You understand? And so on and so forth. So any 3 here will earn you the full mark. So take note of that. So okay, then the next question is question number 17. Let's see that a student uses social media to keep in contact with other people. Okay, describe is the command word. 4 strategies that the student could use to stay safe when using social media to communicate with other people. Describe 4 strategies that the students could use. So now the students need not to send inappropriate images to anyone. Inappropriate images to anyone. That is very important. The students needs to use appropriate language when communicating with people. Appropriate language, then the students doesn't need to click on suspicious links. when communicating with other people. The students must not send out personal information to, such as maybe address or phone number of themselves or any other people. They should not give it out when communicating with people on social media platforms. So it's very important. So all this can help. Then you can set security so only friends can contact you. Another thing is that if you see anything or read anything that worries you, block the sender. Block the sender immediately. Very important. Okay, so any 4 valid points here will earn you the full mark. Then question 18, which is the last question in this video. A manager in a hospital has decided to ask a software company to develop a computer system. The system should allow patients to book all their medical appointments online. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages to both the patients and the medical staff of this type of system. So this is a question that you need to patiently understand what you are being asked to do. So the system should allow patients to book all their medical appointments online. Take note of that. Discuss the command word, the advantages and disadvantages to both the patient and the medical staff of this type of system. You can see that. Look at all the keywords there. So the first thing you do is you look at the marks allotted to it, which is 6 marks. So you are talking about advantages and disadvantages to patients and medical staff. So if I were you, I could make maybe since we have 6 marks, I could have 6 marks. Talk about advantages, maybe about 3 to 4 advantages to both patients and medical staff, and talk about 3 or 4 disadvantages to both patients and medical staff. So let's look at the advantages now. Let's look at the advantages to both patients and medical staff. One advantage that is very important here is that medical bookings can be made last minute because you're doing online booking. So another thing is that you have access to 24/7 booking opportunities. So another thing is that the bookings, maybe the report of the bookings can be easily checked online. Okay, and it is, for one reason or the other, it is faster or easier to cancel or even change a booking. Okay, then another thing is that it is you spend less time on phone, so you have opportunity for the medical staff now to to talk with their clients or patients. So, and it frees up staff to do other things because they have an online system for the medical appointments. You understand? So then let's look at disadvantages. So we have privacy or security of the data, because you cannot see the person filling the online form talking about appointment and all that. So you have concerns about the privacy or security of the data, because a third party person or company could intercept the data. They could hack the system and get access to patients' data or even medical staff data. So there is a privacy or security concern there. Another thing is that some people prefer to talk to a medical person rather than just having online form filling and all that. So some patients, okay, good. Then in such a system, computer skills are required on the part of the patient and on the part of the medical staff. So then another thing that is important is that internet connection is required. So if the patients don't have access to internet connected devices, then there will be a serious issue to book their appointment. So any of these points, any 6, will earn you the full marks. Then let's go to the last question. That is question 18b. The manager of the hospital has purchased an expert system, keyword there, expert system, to help diagnose their patients' illnesses. Okay, what's an expert system? An expert system is a computerized system that mimics the operation or the expertise of an expert in a field. In this case now, medical field. So name 3 components of an expert system. Name 3 components of an expert system. So basically we have about 5 major components of an expert system that I coded as Ikiru. E for explanation system, K for knowledge base, I for inference engine, R for rules base, U for user interface. So any 3 there will work. So let me just write the 5 here, Ikiru. So I just name it that way to make it easier. E for explanation system, K for knowledge base, I for inference engine, R for rules base, and U for user interface. So these are the major components of an expert system. So with this, we have come to the end of this paper. Like I said at the start of this video, I told you that this specimen paper is used to mirror the likely questions that can come for exams in 2023, 2024 and 2025. So it is a very good paper to use when preparing for paper 1 ICT 0417. So it's going to mirror touch some areas, how the questions will be structured, likely questions and all that. So please take advantage of this video as you prepare for your exams. I wish you all the very best. Oh, to scan, okay, I skipped this part the other time, sorry for that. To scan barcode reader, okay, it's there. Okay, good. So take advantage of this video and ensure you score an A star in your ICT. All the very best. Ensure to like this video, share with other people, subscribe to our YouTube channel as we continue to bring you vital information for you to excel in your exam. See you in the next video. Bye for now.